Alright folks, I believe the next logical step is just to remove the pick guard and all electronics. We're going to start with these knobs. I'm going to have to detach this plate and the pick guard from all the electronics that's sticking up out of it. If you can see in there, there's a little slot that an Allen wrench goes into. I got a little Allen wrench right here. I'm going to stick it in this slot right here. And then I'm going to crank it lefty-loosey. Just like once. Like there, it's on there, and then stick it in, crank it. It just, you know, quarter of a turn. Alright, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take out all the screws except for the screws that are holding the pickups onto the pick guard. And there's this one in the middle. Alright, let's see if it just pulls out or what happens. Now it's going to be attached to these two pots over here. I'm going to lift this up and look inside of it. Oh, just all types of space and room, dude. Look at that. That's perfect for a P90 size pickup. Let's just see if I can unscrew this and it all just stays attached. Kind of like the pick guard. This wire right here is grounded to the bridge. I'm gonna have to unsolder this before I can take this out. Okay, so we got her open. There's this screw right here that this wire is screwed into the body, which this should be shielding paint. Otherwise, what's the point of this? But it's soldered over here to, it looks like where the volume pot is grounded to the pot. And then this wire is soldered here, and then it's grounded to the bridge. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this screw out. And I was hoping to get as far as I possibly could without any soldering for right now, but in order to get any of this stuff out, I have to unsolder this pot from the bridge wire. We're going to keep the bridge wire like it is, like attached to the bridge. We're not going to, you know, pull the bridge out or anything like that. We're just going to keep this wire attached like it is. I'll have to go get the soldering iron and unsolder this right here so that I can, you know, get this out of the way.
Okay, so here's the part of the video where I have to overdub my voice because I accidentally didn't have any sound on with the camera when I was filming this part, this is probably the best part to do that on because it's basically about 7.5 minutes of me waiting for the soldering iron to heat up, and then what I'm doing is heating up the solder that is attaching the bridge wire to the volume pot. Just get it nice and melty and pull on it. You can't see right now because of my hand, but trust me, that's what you do. You just turn it into a little melty puddle of solder and pull the wire out. There you go. Now I can remove this plate with the pots on it. Here's another scene of me doing something pretty fairly self-explanatory. I'm just using this socket wrench to detach the pots from the plate there. I used a 7/16 socket for the pots and a 1/2-inch socket for the input jack.
Alright, here's the new pick guard. We're going to make sure that it fits, like all the screw holes go together. There's shielding on the back of it, so you can't really see through down into the screw holes. But they look to be all in the same places, so we'll give that a check real quick. Just going to take all these screws, put the new pick guard on just to make sure it fits. That's always a good sign when it turns easily. Alright, there's number one. I got this pick guard from WD Music. They just make little custom pick guards. I went on there and they had a template for the Mustang, the Offset series, which was discontinued. Basically it's the same guitar. They had a P90 version of the Offset Mustang. It's the exact same guitar. They just rebranded it the Player Mustang. Made it part of the Player series. These seem to be going pretty well. Shout out to WD Music. Online at wdmusic.com. So the pick guard that came with it was kind of the mint green pick guard. This is a 3-ply. It kind of pops off of the blue. By the way, WD Music will shield your pick guard for you, which is nice. It's just a little bit extra. I think maybe $10 extra. But the plan is to have this whole thing shielded just because. May not need it, but we're gonna do it. Okay, perfect. The new pick guard fits on there. Don't have to line up new holes. Just go to WD Music at wdmusic.com and order you a little pick guard from off of there. Alright, this is definitely how this is gonna have to happen. You got the mounting ring, right? And then this pickup just drops in the mounting ring and these two holes line up. Just like that. These two screws are gonna go through this hole. Go through these holes. And then you're gonna have these spacers in between the mounting ring and the pickup wings. Now this thing is supposed to just slide on because it's supposed to be able to go like slide freely up and down. But as of right now, this came out of the box threaded. We're gonna have to drill on these holes in the pickup wings. But ideally, you want to mount this to the bottom of your pickup cavity. You want to mount this to the bottom of your pickup cavity with the screw that goes in there like that. And then, as you can probably figure out, these two screws, you're going to tighten these into the shim. And this is machined out so that it'll accept these screws. On the Gibson, it's got these little tiny nuts. They go on the end like this. And then they keep the wings of the pickup tight against the spacer so that when you adjust the screw inside of this whole thing like rises up and down. The mounting ring and the pickup stays tight together, and you can turn these screws and adjust it up and down within this machined out thing. DiMarzio sent these springs, and I assume that's their purpose instead of using the tiny nuts. So it's pretty much our choice at this point. I'm gonna lean towards the tiny nuts because Gibson uses the tiny nuts to mount their pickups.
The mini humbuckers in my Gibson are 2-conductor pickups. DiMarzios are 4. They have 4. Yeah, so you got a red, a black, a white, a green, and then there's a bare wire. And you can wire either series or parallel. I wasn't sure what to do, but it turns out that these things, like single coils, you can do them parallel. A humbucker is either wired in series, or if you wire it in parallel, it's like wiring to single coils. So this right here says the traditional humbucker is wired in series, out of phase. It says here, solder the 2 white leads together for your series link. This is like this is like a StewMac kit for building a mini humbucker. So yeah, series link probably tells me that's wired in series. This actually came with the pickup. So we're doing the series wiring, red, black, green, and white. Standard wiring for most humbuckers is series humbucking. To do this, solder the black and white wires together. Cover the solder connection with tape so that it doesn't touch any other part of the circuit. Solder the red wire to the hot connection. The green and bare wire are soldered to ground. Usually this connection is made to the back of a control, so that'll probably be going to the volume pot. Each one of these is going to have their own volume and tone. Like if we were wiring it to a master volume, then yeah, we could wire the, once we made this into a hot and a ground, then we could wire that in parallel with the other pickup. But since it's going to its own volume pot, then that doesn't matter. All we need to know is that the wires that are coming out of the pickup are going to be wired in series.